Hi, I'm Carolina, your podcast host and expert womb healer. Over the past 5 years, I've served over 500 women to remove physical blockages in their bodies. We achieve this with Reiki. I believe healing doesn't have to be done alone, nor should it be. You will hear stories of healing, methods to heal with, and guest speakers covering taboo topics you won't hear anywhere else. Let's continue this journey of womb healing together. Hi, I'm Carolina, your podcast host and Reiki womb healer. Before we dive in today, make sure that you're going ahead and leave us a rating and review, and we'd be so eternally grateful because that helps us rank. Yes. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a single episode. Today, we are talking about something that is going to be super helpful for you. It is the mindset that helped me fall pregnant 2 weeks later with Michelle Gordon. Michelle, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Carolina. I'm excited to be here all the way from Australia.
I can't believe it. So I love the online space so much because it connects us in ways that I don't think we would be able to otherwise.
I know. And we've been chatting over on Instagram for a few weeks now, and it's just, yeah.
I love everything that you do. Can you tell everyone who you serve and what you do and what's the name of your company?
So my name's Michelle Gordon. I have a business called The Healthy Happy Nurse. So I'm a registered nurse of 24 years, and now I have stepped into the coaching space. So I'm an alignment and manifestation coach, NLP practitioner, and I help men and women become free from overwhelm and burnout and create a life they love.
I love that. Just in case anyone didn't ever know, I'm a huge fan of NLP. Can you explain what that is? Actually, there might be a lot of people that don't know what that is.
Yeah, so I'm fairly new to the NLP space, but it's neuro-linguistic programming, which is all about really understanding the information that we filter through our brain and how we process it and make sense of it. And a lot of the stuff that NLP has really helped me do is understand deep subconscious programming in our brain, our belief systems, how we make sense of information, how it's stored, where it's stored, the emotions that we attach to it, and how that affects us every day, how we show up, how we act, how we behave, and what we make it mean about ourselves and the world. So it's super, super interesting. Since I've done this work, it's just changed my life and now my clients. So, yeah.
I felt like it was, well, maybe this is not even a great description of it, but I felt like it was like hypnosis on steroids. Like, it really, because it does get you into a like inward state.
Yeah.
And the practitioner that I had worked with, she was fantastic. She's going to be on the podcast too a little bit later. So amazing. She works with money mindset. I learned that every limiting belief or every belief, whether it's limiting or not, is a decision. At some point in your life, you have decided. So whether that was your beautiful, tiny 5-year-old self when you were learning as your parents use certain language, like we can't afford that, or there's not enough. And usually that's around money. So that's like scarcity versus abundance. Whereas like we say, well, there's more, we just have to wait a little bit. The power of your words. So like we're reshaping our son's relationship with money by using language like that. So it's not as limiting, you know? So, or like he grows up with abundance, but not entitlement. So things like that.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a lot of inner work. It's a lot of reparenting yourself, but understanding that all of that are decisions. So like when you're doing whatever it is that you're healing or working on is like, what are we deciding? But with the NLP, it allows you to, like, if you were just like logically journaling about it, you wouldn't get the same effects as you're working with a practitioner that's allowing you to go into your subconscious to release, reprogram, and then allow it to integrate, like all of which are 3 different phases. So I'm talking like I'm an LLP expert.
You should be.
I did buy a certification. I haven't started it yet. So But anyway,
Carolina.
I know, with Reiki too, I'm taking over the world. Ha ha ha. So anyway, Michelle, you're here for a story. I feel like, wait, let me hop on a plane so we can go get some cocktails. I feel like we got to stay on task. Other people are going to run. They're going to be like, what is she doing over there? Okay. So we're going to talk about what's your infertility story. And then like, how did you get pregnant after you like your mindset changed? Let's dive in. Tell me. Tell us the tea.
This is such a great story because I share this with so many like of my friends and my family and my colleagues. And I love to share this now and get this out, especially to your beautiful listeners, because
I know
if I can share with them how I struggled through infertility twice, and what I did to really get through that, and now have 3 beautiful children, and help someone with their vision and their dream and become a mum or dad. It's something that I want to share. So thank you for allowing me to share this. So my infertility journey, I have got 3 beautiful children, 17 years old now, 15 and 7. So there's a big gap there in the last 2. We suffered with infertility, my husband and I, when we were trying to get pregnant with our first child. And we went on a whole unexplained infertility journey, which was a bit of a, hang on, how can that be? What's going on here? Like nothing's actually wrong with me. Nothing's wrong with my husband. Like we are all good to go. And we ended up going down the IVF pathway. Yeah. So that was where the sort of road turned. And mind you, like this is 18 years ago now. So we were directed on to an infertility specialist who was like, yeah, okay, I can't see why not. Let's do this. And so we journeyed down that path, which was a whole other journey in itself.
It is.
Yeah. So we went through IVF. I'm a registered nurse, so obviously I was working at the time, finding myself in all sorts of situations and dealing with the physical and mental process, mental, I guess, side of the whole IVF journey. And found myself injecting, with all of the different medications that you have. I can't even remember what they are now, but everything's time critical with IVF. And it's very stressful. And I found it stressful. And as a nurse, I was running into the toilet cubicle to do what I needed to do, give myself the medication. And I also had suffered some minimal side effects of bloating and fatigue and all of those sort of things. So that was affecting me. But ultimately, we came out the other side with a beautiful, healthy baby boy.
And that was with your third or your first?
This is our first child.
So that's how you conceive your first?
Yeah. And there was no explanation as to why we weren't able to fall pregnant. And we were just sort of, okay, well, this is your next step. And as a young couple, husband and wife, yeah, we didn't know. We were just like, okay, all right, that's where we go next.
When you're a young married couple, you just assume it's going to happen. My husband told me this because we're in this season. A lot of our friends are either getting remarried. I'm like, well, we got married very late and his friends got married very early, like 18, 19, 20. So now like they did their 10, 12 years, they got divorced and now they're on...
I was going to say, are they remarrying each other or new partners?
No, I'm sorry. This is a really bad metaphor, but he says nobody ever enters a marriage expecting to get divorced. So no one ever enters their marriage or their relationship or when it's time to have a baby expecting not to happen. So that's a really bad metaphor. You're expecting like this happy time. Everything's going to be easy peasy, mac and squeezy,
Yes.
As my son says. So I can totally relate. That's how we started ours too. It was not exactly a walk in the park when we decided, this is the time. I took out my IUD and month after month. Yeah, we weren't getting pregnant. I totally get it. What happened with the second? How did you get pregnant with your second one? Did you do IVF again?
So our second born, we literally thought about, our firstborn was around 12 months old. And I said to my husband, this is a really good time. I'd love to have another baby. And he agreed. And we had just literally put it out there, agreed, hadn't really gone much further. And within a month, I was pregnant naturally. And yeah, big shock because it happened so very quickly, so easily, without any real planning, I guess, much to my husband's disgust. So we were just like, okay, here's his baby. And we had another beautiful boy. So yeah.
Wait, do you have all boys?
So I've got the two boys at the start and then a little girl.
Your 7-year-old's a girl.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good mix.
So
I bet that's really lovely, like to have the older brothers teach her all the things.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. So the boys are now 17 and 15. And after our second born, we went through again the sort of around the 12 months to 2 years. I thought, you know what? Yes, I would love to have another child, and another discussion, another little chat with the husband. And we both agreed that, yeah, this is, yep, okay, third child. Let's go there. Like, let's do this.
Your family wasn't complete yet.
Yeah, we weren't complete.
I remember you had said that when we first chatted. And I was like, oh, wow, that's like a really deep feeling. I had never heard anyone say that before. That must have run really deep.
It's a knowing. And I didn't know until the second child was, our second boy was around 12 months of age. And I knew then that it was a knowing that we wanted a third child to complete our family. So, yeah. And again, we went down, okay, well, now's a good time. Let's start this journey, complete our family with baby number 3. And we fell into some infertility struggle again.
How long did you try for this third one?
6 years.
And during that time, did you ever attempt IVF or consider it again?
Yeah. And we were in a very stressful time in our work. My husband's work was very stressful. I was working a lot in my nursing position. So things were stressful at home. We had toddlers, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was a time where we were just going, oh my gosh, what do we do? Like we know we want a third child. We know we haven't completed our family. Oh, how can we hold space for this?
So you are living life and trying to conceive, but also like when you have young families and you're like in your 20s and 30s, that's exactly what you're doing. Like you're building life. You're like saving money, buying a house, and like littles are so consuming. They're like, they take up a lot, and then add on like this, if you have health struggles, you have your plate super full. How did you manage all that stress?
I didn't very well, and I ended up drinking quite heavily. So I turned to alcohol during that time, and we were struggling, obviously not falling pregnant. Our IVF specialist was like, well, just come back and we'll start the process again. And that thought of dealing with IVF on top of what we were already dealing with was just really scary for me. And my husband was like, we can do that. Like, let's just go. Like, let's just start the process where we know the specialist, we know what to do, we know everything. Like, let's just go down IVF again. And my heart was like, no, I couldn't go there. And my stress really spiraled. I was numbing myself with food, numbing myself with alcohol, numbing myself by working really hard whilst having 2 little children and a marriage and that, managing home life, obviously.
Were you scared because did you have fertility trauma from the IVF? Do you think?
I think.
What made the process scary to you?
there was a level of trauma because every step in the IVF process, it's like you've got all of your hopes and dreams on that next step. You know, do we have enough eggs, you know, to harvest? And then it's like, are they good quality? How many survive? You know, and every step of the way, there's just so much hope riding on it. And then you do get to the embryo transfer stage, which is amazing. But it's like, are these little embryos going to take, or one for that matter, you know?
Or the testing. Now they do this testing.
Okay.
Like, are they going to pass? Like, you can opt for it. You can pay for abnormalities. And when I've worked with different clients, that is also very stressful, to do it, not to do it. So then you choose like which embryo may go, and then like, what do you do with the extra embryos? There's so many things that go with it. I haven't met a single person that has gone through IVF that doesn't have a form of fertility trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. It's so grueling. I have never done it, but I have worked with enough clients to know it's so grueling in every aspect. But everyone's reason to want to do it or not want to go back and do it is so very different.
Yeah. And we had such a great outcome with our first, had a beautiful, healthy boy. Yet I was still not able to go down that path again. I just said to my husband, I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. And he said, okay. You know, he was trying to help me for this desperate desire and need to have another child. But I wasn't willing to go that far because I knew my mental health wasn't able to stand up with it, you know. We just continued, and we tried, and we actually tried some Chinese herbal medicine, and we spent a lot of money with a Chinese herbal medicine specialist who was specialized in infertility. But again, we didn't have any luck. And at that point, we just very quickly decided, so this was over a period of 6 years, we got to this point where we were just like, our life isn't working for us right now. We are stressed. Our children are not getting the best of us. You don't like your job, my husband. I was driving a long way to get into the big hospital where I was working. Something has to change. We actually packed up, sold up everything. We were living in Melbourne, in Australia, in built-up suburban area. And we packed up our lives and moved to sunny Queensland by the beach. So,
what is life like there?
Oh, so different.
So is Melbourne like very busy? That's like one of the largest cities, right?
Yeah. Busy and cold. Cold weather. Cold. It is grey. It is just, everyone's super busy, and that had been our lives. That's all we knew. And we literally packed up on a whim. I found a job for my husband here now where we live in regional Queensland, on the coast, on the east coast. And I found myself a job at the hospital, and we found this gorgeous little coastal town where we live. I'm looking at the beach right now out my window. And it's so slow, and it's a
intentional. Is it intentional? I say all of those choices were very intentional. So basically, you're like, problem. Let's fix this. Let's disrupt. I'm going to change this, and we're moving this right now. So you went from busy to intentional and slow living. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and absolutely.
By the beach. So, okay, so now what happened after that? So like, you went from busy to slow. So what did your life look like? What lifestyle changes did you make then? Because you're like, new jobs, new house, new town. What happens next? Like, what did your life look like then?
We felt like, we've been here for 9 years now, but we actually felt like we were on holidays the whole time. For the first couple of years, we were like, everyone lives outdoors. It is hot. You can swim all year round pretty much. It's warm, the beautiful beaches. Everyone lives outdoors. It's barbecues and everyone exercises, like they're up super early in the morning, you know, walking at 5 o'clock in the morning. The sun rises here in summer at 4:30 a.m. It's
Wait,
beautiful.
the sun rises at 4:30 in the morning? Are you serious? Okay, I have two questions that are really random and nothing to do with fertility. Do you have sharks in the water?
Yes, we do.
Oh, Lord. Is it where they find the great whites?
They're big tiger sharks in our water here, and my family.
You know, I was mentally preparing myself to hop on a plane. We were going to get cocktails and go swimming, but now I'm not.
We can go by the pool. We can do the pool.
You know what? I'll just put my feet in. It's like, you know, I'm just not. I am very friendly to many things of the animal world, but sharks are not my thing. Just Jaws scarred me for life. Okay, so then, like, the next thing is I need to know this because I'm fascinated by architecture. And some countries have air conditioning and some don't. Does Australia, is that something that it's a thing there?
Oh, my gosh. If you don't have air conditioning here in Queensland, you will die.
Oh, okay. Because in some countries, that's not a thing.
Oh, right. No, we have air conditioners in nearly every room.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That was two things. Do you have sharks and do you have AC?
Yeah.
Because like in some places in the world, that's not a thing.
No, we have lots of air conditioning because we have to have it here. Yeah.
Okay, continue. So you tangent between two best friends. Okay. That's my British accent. That's not even a good Aussie accent. Okay, so you moved you were burnout. You were very busy, unhappy, and you're like, things got to change. You move to Queensland. Things are great. And everyone's happy, thriving. Then what happened in your marriage and the baby?
So we found our jobs, got back into work. We bought a beautiful home, like right on near the beach, like only a few steps to the beach. Loved this beautiful home. And my husband and I were cleaning up the garage one day and he said, we've still got all this baby stuff. Like, what are we doing with all the baby clothes? We've just like brought all of this stuff from Melbourne. There's boxes and boxes and there's the cot and there's all of these things. And he said, what are we doing, hun? And I said, and he sort of looked at me as if, let's talk about this. You know, here we are.
Oh, so he wanted an answer.
He wanted an answer. He was like, what are we doing? Like, can we revisit this? Because I was not done. Like,
how long had you shut down the conversation for?
Probably 18, nearly 2 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah, but we were in so much stress and sadness in that time, you know, for leading up to before the move. Neither of us could really bring up that subject again or bring up the conversations. Yeah, and so this was 7 years, I guess, now. Time had passed, and he said to me, what do you want to do? Can we just sit and talk about it now? Let's have a chat. And I was like, oh, here we go. And I sat in that moment and we just really looked at each other and had a really good conversation. He said, are you finished? Do you want to have another child or what are we doing? We're going to clear up this baby stuff and do something with it. And I said, do you know what? And I said, I looked around and I said, I'm actually really happy now. I said, I'm complete. And he's like, what? What? What do you mean? And I said, look at where we live. Look at our life. Like we have the most beautiful life and I'm so complete. And he was like, okay, radio. And he said, how about, and this was I can't even remember. He said, let's give it till the end of the year. So it must have been around April. He said, let's give it till the end of the year. And if nothing has happened, we haven't fallen pregnant, we will call it a day. I said, yep, let's do that. I'm happy with that. 2 weeks later, I was sick, unwell, tired, emotional, exhausted. And my doctor said to me, you're pregnant, Michelle. And I was. Yep.
So, okay. So we're going to go back to this.
Go back.
We're going to go back to this. So, okay. So essentially, I'm going to sum this up to because I know enough about manifestation. The more that you're detached from the thing that you're trying to manifest, the better. The top things is set the intention, trust it's going to happen, hold the visualization that it's going to happen, but also get busy doing something else and detach from the outcome, because there's complete, utter trust and safety that it's going to come true. So the urgency and the timeline and the control of when it's going to come true is the success, is letting go of those things.
Yeah.
So in your story, that's essentially you had the recipe for all those things.
Yep. Exactly. Beautiful pregnancy, the most amazing birth. She was just absolutely beautiful baby girl, and she was meant to be here. And that, you're right, a big part of that story and how she came into our lives was because, for one, I held the vision and I had set the intention. I never gave up. Even though we had that really stressful time, I still deep in my heart kind of knew that we had another baby somewhere, this was going to happen for us. And then the last thing was, I actually, for the first time in 7 years, I let go of the need, and I leaned back and didn't need to have a third baby like I was before. Yeah. So it's letting go of the attachment.
The attachment. Now, I want to preface this because I can hear the TikTokers coming for me. This is Michelle's story, and this is not everyone's story. Michelle had done, all of the things that the doctors had said, and you had not been diagnosed with any, technically everything physically, you were fine. If you have physical ailments, always work with your doctor, whatever it may be. The mindset was also something in the visualization of this third child, is something you both shared in your marriage. So it wasn't just you holding this, it was your husband too, your partner, and there was communication on this equal want of it, of this child. I believe that to have a successful mindset, if someone wanted to take your story and be inspired and take action based upon your story, the first thing that you should do is look at your beliefs. What do you believe about your fertility? And this is simple things like, what are you choosing to define, and what language are you using when you describe your fertility or infertility, however you want to word it, your journey to conceive? What language are you using when you talk about it to other people, when you think about it in your head? Because these are deliberate choices that we need to be intentional with. So, do you believe fertility is hard? For example, I did a money mindset training probably last October, November-ish. And they're write down what your beliefs about money were. I did the exercise, and it turns out I believed money caused conflict.
Yes. Yeah.
So these are what are the beliefs around, and that was after I was digging through, and that's skipping a few steps, but what do you believe about your fertility? What do you believe about fertility itself? So are we saying that fertility has to be hard? Evidently it is. And I'm not discrediting or invalidating anyone's experience, but I want to put in the belief work as into what can we put in for the success, for our outcome? My turn, I'm just waiting for my baby is coming, and making sure that you're believing those things as fact, those things to your core, just as much as if I were to say, Michelle is a great person. I believe that to be fact. She's loyal, she's kind, she's sincere, she's generous. So however you would believe and say that about your best friend, because this is going to hit home to make it super easy. However you would describe your person, your favorite person in the whole world, those characteristics, and you believe those to be true, because it's the ride or die kind of friend that I'm talking about. Those things, yes, those are the things that I believe to be true about my friend. Well, I want you to believe the things that you're going to define about your fertility. You get to choose those things. I want you to believe it with that much passion, that much ferocity, with that much fierceness. I want you to believe that my fertility is XXX, whatever, fill in the blank. Only you can decide that. And I want you to have belief around your fertility and with such passion and belief and conviction. So like if someone were to say, describe your best friend, I guarantee you any woman that has a best friend is going to light up and they're like, yes, my best friend, you know, Tiffany, is this, and this. It's like, I just listed all those things about you. So I want you to speak with conviction, joy, and passion about your fertility beliefs as that. And that is going to allow you to shift into your mindset a little bit easier. I hope that's helpful. Do you? Sorry for my tangent.
No, you're so on point, and you always receive what you believe. Mostly.
Wow. That should be on a t-shirt, Michelle. Oh my God. Where did you get that? Did you just make that up right now?
It's been part of my language for a long time now because
look at my eyeballs.
Hello, I can see your eyeballs. It's good, hey.
Oh my God, that's going to be one of our content clips. You always receive what you believe. Michelle Gordon.
Love it.
People, put that on a t-shirt. Run right now and put on a t-shirt. We'll all be rich.
But how true is it? Like when you stop and you go,
it's
whoa.
Fucking true. It's fucking true.
If I believe...
That's why this is rated explicit. I said the word fuck. Yes, it's fucking true.
Yes, it is. Right at the start in our infertility struggle, I could have chosen to believe that we would be a couple with not being able to have children, that our family would be my husband and myself. Did I believe that to be true? No. Right? I didn't believe it for one bit. And that energy and that knowing and trust is so powerful, and it affects your thoughts. If you believe that you are going to have a struggle, or you're going to have a difficult pregnancy or infertility issues, your thoughts become around that. Your thoughts around that will be fear, lack, worry, doubt. Your feelings also then settled, anxious, worried, stressed, right? And your actions and results come off of those, how you're feeling. So it all lines up.
Okay, so I am a healer. I also am a very practical person, and you're in medicine. So this is where I differ from the new world, new earth, 5D bullshit. I do believe that people have these medical things. So like, I don't believe that just magically we're going to manifest. If they say you have low AMH, or you're not ovulating, or if you have no period, that you're going to manifest a baby with just mindset. I believe that your mind is a very powerful tool, but I also believe combined with medicine, it's necessary. Don't listen to this episode and be like, I'm going to fix my mindset and not go to my doctor. Don't do that. Don't be that person. Go to your doctor. Find a doctor you feel safe with, but also make sure you're doing your emotional and your mindset work. And if you need me, DM me on Instagram. If you need Michelle, DM her. You'll find everything in the show notes, I promise you. But like, that's very important. This is for my listeners. So no matter where you are in your fertility journey, whether you have endometriosis, PCOS, Hashimoto's, whatever it may be, just understand the best plan for you is the one that you decide, one that you feel empowered with, one that you've researched, one that you've discussed and evaluated with your doctor or your fertility specialist. I never want you to think that mindset alone, Reiki alone, or massage or acupuncture alone will fix any serious medical condition. Like, there is a place for everything, but I do believe mindset can carry you very far. Just don't skip out on seeing your doctor. I just want to preface that because I think that's really important.
And this is when we talk about manifestation, because it's something that I now love. I love to talk about it. I teach it. Manifestation happens when your mindset, your beliefs line up and are in alignment with your actions. So you have to take action. It's not just sitting back or doing all the mindset work going, I'm going to fall pregnant. I'm going to fall. No. What actions are you taking to make this happen? Are you seeing a specialist? Are you following the process or the plan that your doctor has for you? All of these things, you have to take action in some way, shape, or form.
I sell meditations, and I had one that said boost your fertility. And I had a woman DM me and said, I bought your meditation a few months ago and I'm not pregnant. And I said, maybe we should do a session. Have you asked her all these questions? Do you have any ailments? What's your plan with your doctor? Da, 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 da. I was like, what's your cycle like? All these things. And she's like, well, my partner and I are not intimate. I was like, okay. I could see that she was in a heterosexual relationship. And I said, as much as I want to think my Reiki is that good, Reiki is not a replacement for actual sex.
No.
So I was like,
that's the action part.
I was like, you have to have sex or go see your doctor and make an embryo and have it transferred. I said, but my Reiki is not that good.
Yes.
I was like, my Reiki is powerful, but it's not that good. I promise you. It's not that good. Wow. So always go to your doctor, come up with a plan with your partner, or if you're doing it alone, then, definitely go to your doctor. You need to buy some sperm. So
that's it. And this is the taking action part.
Yes. Your action's going to look different, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like when you coach clients, there are things that they need to heal and their NLP sessions are probably radically different from the next, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll give you an example, and this is not related to fertility, but I think it's a good example. I had a client come to me about her business. We've done some work on burnout. She's released
I love
burnout.
Business talk.
Yeah, and she's released burnout. She's in a really good place now. She's not in that overwhelm. And this is where I was, right, before we did the move. And she's got this great little beauty business that she does part-time from home. She's got a great little setup, clients coming in, great product range, great service. And she said to me, how can I increase my sales? And I was like, oh, yeah, let's talk about this. Anyway, I said, how about, are you selling on some products? And she said, I've got products here. They've sat there for months. My clients haven't bought them. And I said, why not? And she said, because I feel bad selling. I said, oh,
yeah.
What's your belief around selling? Let's talk about that, right? So her belief was selling was bad. Salespeople were bad, right? And we pulled that apart and got into her mind and she had those aha moments. Oh, wow. Like, where did that belief come from? What did I make it mean? Is that actually true? No, it's not. And when we switched it over to you're serving people, you're giving them the product and what they need, she had a complete different shift in her belief and in her mindset. She texted me a week later and she said, I've got no products on the shelf. All of my products are gone.
Love it.
Yes.
Love it.
So there's the belief. And what she was receiving was a business that was half operating, and she wasn't using it to its full capacity and serving the way she should have. Yeah.
I love that.
Cool.
I did sales for a while and I used to think I was bad at sales. And then the person that was mentoring me, and she's like, how could you possibly be bad at sales? Everyone loves you. I was like, oh, I'm afraid to ask for their money.
Yes.
And then she goes, but you're going to make money from them and their money is none of your business. And I was like, that. And she's like, it's none of your business. I was like, I had a guy tell me he lost his job and I was on a sales call and she's like, that's none of your business. What if he has like 10 rental properties and $1 million in the bank or like a savings account? What if he quit his job on purpose? And he's retired. And maybe he didn't quit and he's like retired, Who
are you to decide how much money they have and where they should be spending their money,
Exactly. I called him back and I sold him. and I got commission from it. I was like, hey. So,
Wow. So good.
I learned a long time ago. I do online business management as my other gig, as my other company. And I was talking to a colleague of mine. We have a contract together, and I was like, pay her a very good wage for what she does for my company. And then she has a client that has like 15 hours a week, but it's a third of what I'm paying her per hour. And I was like, I really need more hours from you. But she didn't have capacity, but I know that other contract. Well, she shared it with me, and I said, well, can I buy that contract? Can I give you the same amount of money, or are you going to have like a conversation with that person? And she's like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to cause trouble, whatever. I was like, well, just think about this. Every time that you work an hour and I'm paying you 3 times as much, you're taking money out of your daughter's mouth. She's like, what? I was like, just think about this. I was like, basically, you're robbing time. You could make more money working less hours and have more time for your kid. Or you're basically saying no to more money doing work that you're actually more aligned with and happier doing, versus you could have more time with your family and have more money in the process. Like that, it's a pretty good thing. And I was like, so you could either, she says, that was a very ballsy thing to say. I was like, but it made you shift. Like, think about it. It's not just about you. Like, how much could you give more to your family if you had 3 extra hours in a day to sit on the floor and play with her?
100%.
And she's like, I didn't think about it that way.
That's
I
right.
was like, and what about now?
Gone in and disrupted the belief that she had. Yeah.
And she's like, I never thought I could make that much money. I was like, boom, bullseye. I was like, have you ever thought that you've arrived? And she's like, what does that mean? I was like, some version of yourself when you were younger, maybe it was 3 years ago, maybe it was 5 years ago, dreamt what you're living right now, thought of it, like of the reality you're currently living, that one day you would be living a life that would be exactly what you have right now. So that there is a younger version of you that would be wildly proud of you, that you have achieved this and you have what's in front of you. And I said, when's the last time you celebrated that? She goes, oh. And then she goes, I didn't know I arrived, so how could I celebrate it? I was like, and I said, well, it's a good thing. So I was like, I do this to myself often. I realized since I went into entrepreneurship a year and a half ago, goodness gracious, that I didn't celebrate enough. God, did I work hard? And I have worked harder than I ever have my entire life. And I thought I worked hard before. Entrepreneurship is a lot of hours, and it's over glamorized. Like, have this time freedom, but nobody says like all the things on the back end that you absolutely have to do. But it's anyway, it is worth it. You have to stick it out. But anyway, just in your fertility journey, I want you to find moments also that you can find joy while you're going through the thick of it. So I believe that at some point there are going to be breaks in your fertility where you're going to have moments of joy. I want you to savor them. I want you to celebrate as much as you can in the present so you can get through to the next step, especially if you're doing fertility treatments. Yeah. It's also okay to take breaks. I think intentional breaks, like if you've had failed fertility attempts or unsuccessful fertility attempts is a better term, not failed. I don't like that. But unsuccessful attempts, then you honor, maybe take a break. If that feels right for you, if you want to keep going, that's fine too. I'm not telling you what to do with your fertility, but it's okay to take a rest. It's okay to take maybe a few months off, give your body a break, maybe do some talk therapy, do a massage, go on vacation with your spouse or your partner, whatever it may be, and work on your mindset a little bit, and then go back to your fertility plan and do however you're going to move forward with. I think that when I ask people, I was like, have you taken a break lately? Or like, what are you doing to care for you? Or like, they've been at it for such a long time. that, they're worn down. Just like you can have, fertility burnout, like not just burnout.
Absolutely.
Burnout is not just, work. And I think that that's not talked about enough. Like, especially if some of the women I work with, 9 years, 5 years, for you, 6 years, right? So like, that's a long time to hold hope. And you might need breaks, to live a little.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, that was really key in what we did in having our beautiful girl, was we had that big break. We had that shift. We just let go and got our lives back on track because everything was in such a mess, I guess. We were stressed and not in alignment of what we wanted out of our lives. And once we sort that out, made some different choices, got back into alignment in a lifestyle that was what we really dreamed of, it all just fell into place. It happened. So, yeah, and we took that break not intentionally wanting to have a baby. We sort of just took the brakes off. Yeah.
I was working crazy hours in my pharmaceutical manufacturing job. I used to make tablets and all this stuff. That was my corporate career. And I was a very good checkbox person. I had lists for days for everything you could imagine. Bucket lists, goal lists. I had marriage goal lists. I had it all. To be a fully rounded person and by societal standards be successful. Boy, I did it all. I had it all. But I was grieving. I was sad. And I fell off my horse. I had horses. And I fell off my horse. The horse went right. I went left into a ditch. And I had my helmet on, but I was put on medical leave because my concussion would not heal. And during the medical leave, I went and got Reiki because it was recommended to me. And I had a very hard time taking deep breaths after my dad had died. And mind you, this was like around the 2-year mark. It was right before the 2-year mark that he'd been passed away. So it wasn't like a month prior. So this had been lingering for a long time. And I was put on medical leave for like 3 months. During that time, I got Reiki. I got pregnant.
Wow.
And I wasn't allowed to be on the phone. I couldn't watch television. I couldn't drive. So I couldn't read because my eyes wouldn't focus on the page.
Oh, gosh.
So I had a lot of time on my hands. So I had a lot of time on my hands. So I made a baby.
That is so beautiful.
But
wow.
If you go. So it's very similar. It was like you were super busy and burnt out and probably unfulfilled on some level, I guess, is like you wanted more meaning, more depth, right? So I say I got godsmacked, and the horse accident is the reason why I'm pregnant, besides Reiki. But the Reiki was a Reiki massage. And when I walked out of there, I could breathe again since my dad had died. I felt like I couldn't breathe after he died. And that was a very physical change for me. And I just remember that being like, okay. And I remember my husband driving me there and the conversation. I don't think I've shared this yet. I think maybe a piece of it. Either this is going to work because a psychic had told me to get Reiki, and so did my therapist in the same week, and they didn't know each other and they didn't know about the conversation one with the other. I took it as a sign, like a giant one. And I said, either this is going to work or we're just going to not have a baby. Because I guess we could have tried more stuff, but I just knew. I said, I don't want to do IVF. I don't want to do fertility treatments. I don't want to do needles. I couldn't do it. I just knew that I wouldn't, that I just had enough, like my threshold for like pain and trauma at that point before, like I couldn't do it. Like I was just doing the best I could by waking up every day. So then the next month, it was 1 month after the Reiki session, I was testing positive. And then the anniversary of my dad came around and we told Ryan's parents, who didn't know we were trying. Like nobody knew we were trying. Maybe my best friend knew. That was it. And we took a pacifier and put it in a box and we gave it to my mother-in-law. So every year I do something to honor my dad's death. And it was on the 2-year anniversary. We gave her a box and she opened it and she's like, "What's this?" And I said, "You're going to need it soon." And that's how we told them we were pregnant with all. She cried, of course, and I cried, and nobody knew that we were really trying. So nobody knew the disappointment of the negative pregnancy tests and things like that. But if it wasn't for that reprieve and that medical leave and like the forcefulness of me having to slow down, like literally slow down because I couldn't do anything. I was so bored out of my mind. Like I also had trouble like depth of perception. Like for me too, like how far was like the curb? Like how far away was that? Like I was pretty messed up for a while. Yeah. Take a break because pausing is good. I always say if it's not a hell yes, then it's a wait. It's not necessarily hell no. We're not blocking ourselves. Just wait. I find it's a more feminine, healed response as I've gotten older and more mature. I used to be hell yes, hell no. But like if I wait, I'm waiting for the better option to show itself to me. Yeah. That might come with another conversation. It might show itself to me literally in some other way. It also might come with a change of perception or perspective with time. And that might be a week, might be overnight after I sleep. Maybe I need a good meal. You just never know by waiting and taking a break how your feelings might change or what will happen to you. So, but we've covered so much belief work and we have done fertility, all the things. So how can people work with you? Your magical self. How can people work with the magical Michelle Gordon?
Yes, so I have a beautiful program that I now take women through, which is the Health and Happiness Formula. So it's the program that I wrote from my own burnout journey that takes them through a gorgeous, I guess, self-discovery, self-healing, personal development journey where the women that come through are feeling burnt out, feeling a bit lost, are feeling like there's got to be more to life, Michelle. And they go through this journey and typically start to feel different and notice big changes in their life after about 4 weeks. So that's the Health and Happiness Formula. And I also have a beautiful 12-week breakthrough program. And this is where I really apply all of my NLP processes, really get in and rewire the brain and get deep into the subconscious mind. There's some beautiful practices that I do there to help people release trauma, release limiting beliefs, really access their true potential. So that's the gorgeous programs that I run. And you can find me on Instagram. That's where I hang out, Michelle Gordon _coach.
Is Michelle is with 2 L's, right?
Yes.
It's important. I know some Michelles use one. So can you tell us who those programs are geared towards? Is it business owners, fertility, or just any woman? Who are they geared towards?
So the Health and Happiness Formula is towards women who are feeling burnt out and overwhelmed. And mostly I do work with a lot of nurses in that program, but I've also had some non-nurses come through who are just feeling stuck in their life, feeling a bit lost and feel like they are burnt out in some way, shape or form. So that's that. My breakthrough program is for men and women. Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can tell, but I absolutely freaking love you. So I'm super grateful for you. I had the best time chatting with you. I even got super relaxed.
I know, so relaxed.
I was like, I'm just going to hang out here and drink my Mountain Dew. It's 8:30 at night. I'm drinking Mountain Dew from the gas station.
Thank you for having me. I have so enjoyed this conversation and can't wait to listen to this episode.
Me too. All right. Have a good night, Michelle. It was an honor to connect and serve you this week. If you are a spiritually curious person wanting to conceive and heal blockages in your fertility, click the link in the episode description to learn more about the Fertility Foundation Collective. Until next time, my friend, know you are loved.